Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. Stick around for this one. I'm going to be talking about some of the potential currencies you could end up using after a serious crisis, a complete meltdown of the economy, or a full-blown total collapse. So this is a quite complex topic. There's several videos about it. Most of what I've seen are just not really all that realistic. They just do not hit the right points, and they're not basing themselves on actual evidence of things that have happened before. And a lot has happened so as to give us some idea of what works and what doesn't. So that's what I'm going to be covering in this video. Before I go on, a couple things to mention. Yes, we did do our live stream with Matt Bracking this past weekend. So if you want to watch that, it is not in this channel because I got another strike and I was left for a week without being able to upload videos. So I uploaded it to my Spanish channel. I have a Spanish survival channel. I'll leave the link below. It's called SupervivienciaModerna. You may want to subscribe to that channel as well because I'm using it as a backup whenever there's a problem with this one. So yes, go to SupervivienciaModerna, subscribe if you wish to do so, and within the channel, the Spanish channel, in the live stream, you will find that that previous show with Matt. Okay, this weekend, everything, fingers crossed, no more problems, but we're gonna be doing it as normal here in the Modern Survivalist. One more thing, I'm getting lots of great feedback from my book, guys. I know I mention my book, self-promotion and such all the time, but I've been getting lately a lot of very positive comments and you know, things being mentioned like do things for the books. It really helped me out, especially now with things the way they are. So I'm getting lots of good stuff from Street Survival Skills and from my first book, The Modern Survival Manual, which is maybe the Modern Survival Manual based on my experience in Argentina with the economic collapse there in 2001 is more relevant to this, but I strongly suggest Street Survival Skills as well because it's just useful for you for what you're seeing right now, and as things develop and maybe get worse, it's going to be even more so. Okay, enough of that. I'll also leave the link for some of the stuff mentioning here in terms of some of the emergency foods and some of the hardware wallet for Bitcoin, which has gone down like 21% right now because of a few things going on. It's not going to be lasting, but if you want to buy, this would be the perfect time. I'll leave the link for the Coinbase link. It's from the affiliate program that they have. If you buy $100 using that link, you get $110 worth of Bitcoin, and I get a $10 commission for bringing the client. Win-win. Fantastic. I always love those. So this is one of those topics where a lot of fantasy is involved, a lot of wishful thinking is involved. Whoa, this is going to be worth its weight in gold. No, it's not. It's really limited things are worth its weight in gold. It's mostly limited to gold specifically. But when you do this seriously, like I do, I've been doing this for many years now, and I just don't stick with my own experience in Argentina or other countries that I've lived. I do a lot of research as well, and one of the things I base myself on is, has this ever happened before? Has it really gone down this way? Have people used this or that for actually almost like a currency? Has it been that way? No? Okay. This is one of those topics that's also quite complex. It's not the same thing one and the other. Even when there's an economic crisis, it's not the same thing as a full-blown economic collapse. And even an economic collapse is not the same thing as an absolute complete breakdown of society, end of the world type of thing where there's no longer any government, there's no longer any trucks rolling in to help out people. There's none of that. It is everyone to himself, every man to himself, and everyone is screwed, and you just have whatever is you have at hand and what you're able to defend. These are all different things. So this is not a simple answer of, yeah, buy this, get this, you're going to be borrowing that. No, I'm going to be dividing this in a two-stage. So the first stage would be a level where you have an economic crisis, you have an economic, maybe a full-blown economic collapse where the currency is just not worth anymore or almost not worth anything anymore. I'm talking about this, Weimar Republic. They used to use these for burning. This one is worth like $5 now, but before, back in 1926, you needed a stack of these. Not to buy anything because you couldn't. You needed a stack of these to burn because that's what it's only used for. It was only useful for heating. You burned these because you couldn't use these for anything else, right? Now, I wasn't alive for this one. I was alive for this one, unfortunately, where I use the 100,000 peso. This is something that I did indeed see, and the way it was explained to me as a child, having lived in the United States and understanding this, I didn't understand this. So my parents told me, well, just pretend that these zeros don't exist. And I said, why? Well, for a child, okay, that's the way I went around. So I went and buy like a Coke and a burger with 100,000 pesos. And the way you did that was, yeah, it was quite expensive if I thought in terms of dollars, but that's the thing with inflation. It's always updating. I also ended up using these. These are all already useless. These would be like the new peso. So they kept on erasing zeros. 13 zeros have gone from the Argentine currency over the years. Crazy stuff. So number one in this stage one collapse would be US dollars, having actual cash. Cash is king. That is very much true. It is still a fiat currency. Yes, it is. It's just a piece of paper. Yes, it is. But it's still the piece of paper that people mostly recognize all over the world, and that's why in places like Argentina, in other developing countries, they always store their savings in dollars. That's the only way in which you avoid losing it to inflation, okay? So for you guys in the United States and maybe wherever it is that you are, cash is king, especially during that first period. Why? Because banks are going to be closing their doors, ATMs are going to be running, are going to be empty without any cash, but you still have to get by during that first period, and it's not going to be losing it nearly as fast as Weimar Republic. Yes, the US dollar is losing its value at an accelerated rate, especially these days. So you have to keep in mind that. But for that first period of time, cash is still going to be very much indeed king, and it's going to be giving you leverage compared to those that don't have the cash. So if there's a power outage, the grid has gone down, cards are no longer being accepted, you have cash, you can get quickly whatever it is that you need with it, all right? Number two would be the backup to this, the kind of thing that you fall back to when the people understand that this is just a piece of paper, fiat currency with no intrinsic value. Going to be going to this, silver, in its different shapes and forms. For people in the United States, most likely it's going to be these, your silver eagles. These are nice, very well recognized coins, and yeah, man, thousands of years, still valuable. Gold, the advantage is how compact it is. This is going to be more like that pocket change thing, and you can have gold like in jewelry, junk gold, junk silver, all of that, but whatever it is, have it in different kind of denominations, just to put it somehow. So this is going to be your 100 bill, this is going to be your $1, okay, and that's what you're going to be going with your junk silver, like this Kennedy half, or from some other countries. But this and this, right, these are going to be giving you a lot of purchasing power when people fully understand that that's no longer of use. Number three, our beloved Bitcoin. Bitcoin, yeah, right now it's I would say fortunately it's going down so as to people buy at a more realistic rate, which we just don't know what it is. We don't know what the ceiling is. So whenever it takes a dip, I personally see it as a better opportunity for buying. So yeah, that's why I'm mentioning even more so right now. But Bitcoin is along these lines. You know, it's having your eggs in different baskets. The Bitcoin basket is actually maybe at least for me, I see it as the best, most interesting one, because I know that for a fact, this is not some supposition, this is not some Hollywood movie. This is a fact. Right now, people in Venezuela are using Bitcoin. People in Africa are using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies because it is the backup when there's no longer an economy, guys. There's no longer an economy, but there's electricity. Bitcoin is one of the things that I would put up a lot of hope on. But just don't go for one. Have all three in different rates according to what you may think makes sense. But this is the way I would go about it. All right. The ability to move it from one place to the other without any effort at all. The ability to sell it with your phone or buy it with your phone. Make payments for people that are increasingly more involved with all of this. There's no end to that. I'll also leave the link below for the hardware wallet that, I'm not going to be making this a Bitcoin video, but the best way to store your Bitcoin is in your own separate wallet, away from everything else. You have control of your coin yourself. The Bitcoin wallet, the hardware wallet, is the best way to do that. Leaving the link there for you guys to get. So in a separate stage, a stage 2, where things have deteriorated even more. There's a loss of civility, and people are just going back to an instinctive level of staying alive. There's a complete breakdown of society. There's no longer a functioning government. Everything has gone to hell, and it's everyone, man, woman, to himself. You're gonna be having number 1 of the second stage, food. Food has always been the thing that has had most value for humanity throughout time, especially when we've reached this point of abundance where we take it for granted. It just takes this, a finger snap, like the 2010 earthquake in Chile, where people were going at each other for a bottle of water, for a can of food. It has happened before, it will happen again. Eventually, when things, if you're lucky enough and you don't ever see that, that's fantastic. But these are things that have happened, thus it may end up happening again. And it's the thing that keeps you alive, water and food. The thing about water, it's more abundant. Even water has its own things, but somewhere you will find a stream, a lake, some source of water that with some filter or some method of making it safe to drink, you'll get it, right? It even falls out of the sky. Food does not. Food is a lot more difficult and a lot more valuable. And it's not just any type of food. Canned food in particular, anything that's shelf stable, needs no refrigeration, lasts for several years, especially this kind of stuff. Canned food, absolutely. This is, yes, worth its weight in gold in this stage 2. It is not worth its weight in gold right now, guys. Right now, the only thing that's worth its weight in gold is this, or, well, actually worth more than gold, this. But in this second stage, as I was saying before, it's a complex scenario, and you cannot analyze this in a simplistic manner because it's just not simple. It's a complex topic. But when people have reached that second stage of instinctive survival, food and water will be a currency. This is going to be a thing that, yeah, I have a can of food. You get to live today with this. What are you going to be giving me in exchange for that? And the answer is going to be pretty much anything. For those that don't have food, this is going to be extremely valuable. You can go with the MREs. I'll leave the links for this if I find it, or some of the boat rations, something kind of similar with these ones. But you just want to have a way of having food, okay? These are quite good. These are emergency rations that even children could eat. Number 2. Guns and ammunition. Now, you've heard this so many times as well as I did, that this is going to be the new currency after the end of the world. You're basically going to go to the village or the local market and buy stuff with a handful of this, as if it was coins or cash. I'm not sold on that idea for a bunch of things I don't want to go into to a great extent, but it simply lacks some of the traits of an actual currency. It's depending on how well it has been stored. This can be even counterfeited, just reloading it with dirt even. So there's a number of things that just I don't buy it. That's going to be like buying stuff with a round of 308 and 5 of 22, that sort of thing. But yes, it is something that's very much valuable. We've seen this right now, but we've seen it being very valuable right now in this stage 1, where people are buying this in boxes, in crates of ammo or box of ammo. You haven't seen people go like with loose rounds of, yeah, I'm going to be selling you a bullet. You have a that's definitely not widespread, and it's not common, but it's very much something that you want to have in all around. Just in general, having a good stockpile of ammunition just makes perfect sense. And yes, very much indeed, you can sell some ammo, and it is valuable. Now it's dropping in price. Now you're seeing more realistic prices as well. But in this second stage, the second currency I would mention is not just the ammunition, the gun. What you're basically having as a currency is safety. And when people have gone down to an animalistic level, an instinctive level of survival, everyone at each other, having a way of defending yourself and protecting this is going to be almost as valuable as eating today and staying alive today. So any kind of good working gun is going to be extremely valuable for people that don't have it. And for people that have the gun and don't have the ammunition, goes without saying, ammunition is going to be extremely valuable as well. I would insist more though on the gun. Someone that doesn't have a gun, when you reach this level 2 type of collapse where it's pretty much everyone to himself, someone that doesn't have a gun, that's going to be super valuable. Now this gun specifically, this is a HKP7. This hits another good spot, which is collectability. It's not only just a fantastic piece of German engineering and a fantastic gun, it is also one of the more expensive pistols in the market. It goes like for $1,500 give or take. These are expensive guns. So even right now you could sell it for a lot of money, even more than 5-10 years ago. They just keep going up in price because of collectability and such. And but it's not just collectability, it's actually a fantastic gun, super safe, super reliable, extremely accurate. So in a situation where you just want practical stuff, this is still a fantastic practical tool for self-defense. Also, you can combine that with the knowledge of how to use this. What I mean by this is, if someone needs protection, you could offer that without giving up your gun. If someone is going from point A to point B, maybe you get a seat in a truck, in a car, because you're providing protection. You're not giving up the gun, you're providing the usage and safety the gun provides for a certain amount of time, kind of like rent a cop after the end of the world kind of thing, and that is going to be extremely valuable for people that do not have that capacity, okay? Number 3 would be fuel, and somewhat on the same line of having to move from one point to the other, from point A to point B, evacuate. This is again something that we've seen before. We've seen it in Katrina, gas stations going dry. There's a great series, and I think it's in Netflix, The Collapse, a French miniseries, like 8 episodes. You want to watch that. It's very good and makes a great point of how valuable gas is, fuel is, when people need to move away from the disaster, whatever is chasing them away. Okay guys, I'll leave some of the links below for some of the stuff that I just mentioned in case you want to check it out. And that's it. Gonna see you on our next video. Have an awesome day. Take care.